JT, USA, USA, USA. We have World Cup soccer tonight against Turkey. Turkey's a big, powerful country. A lot of people go in and out of Turkey. Good airport, a lot happening. We play Turkey tonight. I will be in the pool with a bucket of Modelo's. Yes, because I'm heading to L.A. for the World Cup, the knockout round, Sunday at SoFi. You want the good news or the bad news? I'll go, Ari, with the bad news first. The bad news is I was going to L.A. to see South Korea play in the World Cup. Why is that? I lived in L.A. for 10 years. 10 years of my life I lived in L.A. One of my sons was born there. All my kids grew up there. I even coached Pete Crow Armstrong in Little League there. So I have a big background in L.A., a little bit. I love L.A. at times. I don't like the traffic. I don't like their taxes. I don't like their sales tax. I don't like their gas tax. I don't like that traffic. Did I say that again? But I managed through my life in L.A. But when I was in L.A., that is probably the biggest melting pot in the world. All due respect, I'm from New York. And New York is the original melting pot with the Statue of Liberty and Ellis Island. And our immigrants coming through where? Ellis Island. So that was always called the melting pot of America. No. L.A. is. L.A.'s got more people than you could ever dream of. And many of them are South Koreans. Koreans live in L.A. I mean, millions, not thousands. So I thought I was going to go see South Korea play in L.A. They lost last night to South Africa. South Africa. That's where Elon Musk is from, by the way. He's the richest man in the world by far. Not even close. So getting to the point, my son's a soccer head. He loves soccer. I like soccer too, but it's not my A-list game, but I can talk about it. How about some of these other shows? They're ending their shows talking about Taylor Swift, and I open up my show talking soccer. Yeah, I do sports. I don't do Taylor Swift's wedding. So I won't apologize for that. But getting back to this, South Africa won, which means I won't see South Korea. I'll see Canada, my Canadian brothers to the north. It'll be Canada, South Africa. And people are like, are you bummed out by that? I'm like, what? I'm not bummed out by it. It's a knockout game. It's one winner go forward, loser go home. The place is going to be sold out. Tickets are thousands of dollars to go. I'm excited. It's a bucket list. So I'm going to go to the World Cup. And I'm excited about that. You should be excited that I'm live video on YouTube at JT the Brick YT. All you got to do is click a button. In 5 seconds, you see the show. Why would you want to see the show? Because during the breaks, we get to hang out and we still continue the stream. We need people in this YouTube because we got some good new business announcements coming up with our YouTube, and we like to see everyone from the Black Hole. We call them the Bricklayers, everybody else. So join us as we open up the show. We call it the Listen Monologue. It's brought to you by Modelo, the fighting spirit of Modelo. So, yes, we're excited about Modelo and what we're doing. They're back. They're back. We got a lot of people coming back with us as our partners. They're called advertisers. We call them partners. Welcoming new partners every day here at Lotus Broadcasting, and we're excited about that. So going to the World Cup, I'd like to get some World Cup calls. Again, we're going to do 2 hours of radio today. I'm going to do all of it. I'm going to talk. Notice I don't take a breath. I don't pause. I don't let the board op, which Ari's not a board op. He's a producer at the highest level with an open microphone. He can talk whenever he wants. But I don't have one of those silly shows where there's 8 guys on the show or 3 other people. When I wake up in the morning, I don't text host to come in with me. Can you co-host an hour for me? I'm scared. I can't do the whole show solo. Can you come in and do 40 minutes with me? No, it's me. This is very easy if you know how to talk and can put a sentence together. And we talk sports. And we love sports every day. Now, does it get slow in the summer? Hell yeah, it gets slow in the summer. That's why you got people on vacation. And that's why we got Ari in here for Clay, and we're moving things around. But you are always invited to call in, always, because you might be, A, smarter than me, which a lot of people are laughing. Yes, you are. I have a 4th grade vocabulary. I graduated from college with a communications degree, Ari, from Geneseo State University. Go Google it. And we talk Raiders when there's Raiders news. Sorry, there's no Raiders news today. There's no Raiders news today. You know what the news is in the NFL? People getting arrested. Oh, boy. Don't get arrested. please, this is a PSA announcement from your buddy JT. If you are a professional football player, from June 20th to about July 23rd, don't get arrested. Because you're not going to get arrested most likely in the regular season because you have no time. You're just working 19 hours a day in your playbook. You're in the building. You can't get arrested. You're not going to do anything. Unless you go out and you drink and drive. You don't want to do that. Or unless you do something under the influence or something stupid. And most football players don't. 98% of these football players are really good guys. Really good guys. But what happens is in June, this is real vacation for football players and coaches. The coaches take their kids to Disneyland. The coaches take their wives to Cabo. You might have saw a video of Sean McVay getting trolled by 49er fans in Saint-Tropez. And this is when everybody's told, get out of the building, stay in shape, do your sit-ups, do your push-ups, run on the beach, but you are on your only vacation of the year. Now, the problem here in Raider Nation, Ari, is we get a lot of vacation because we get eliminated from the playoffs on January 1st. So on January 1st or 2nd, we're out of the playoffs, and guess when football starts again, game-wise? Ready for this? You get all of January off, all of February, all of March, all of April, all of May, June, July, and August preseason games that we're counting. You get 8 out of 12 months where you're not playing real football games. 8 out of 12. So the goal for the Raider Nation is to make the playoffs, and then maybe you go on vacation in February. You got something to play for in January, and that's what I'm hoping happens. Yeah, even this year. Yeah, as Kenny Clark says, if you play stupid games, you get stupid prizes. So, yeah, for football players, a general PSA. My son will clip this in 3, 2, and 1. For all NFL players from June 15th to July 23rd, don't get arrested. Don't drink and drive. Don't get into fights. Don't do something stupid at the airport. Don't get in someone's face and throw them through a window. Just stay out of trouble, and then you come back, and you'll do great things. You'll have a great year. So we're starting off with this. Raider news, because you got to feed the machine here, Artie, on Raider Nation Radio. You got to feed the Raider machine here. So what do we want to talk about with Raiders today? I think the offseason topic, Kirk Cousins is back in Minnesota at his camp. He's an incredible human being. He's an incredible human being. So the guy's just Mr. Nice Guy. He's Mr. Clean, as someone told me. He's Mr. Clean. He just does everything right. So he's back in Minnesota where he's got great relationships, and he's running his football camp. And they asked him about the Raiders, and he was fun saying, man, I didn't realize it wasn't just like living on Mars. You can live in Vegas in a nice community. He was talking about going around southern Las Vegas. I guess a lot of people don't want to live where I live on the mean streets of Summerlin. It's 5 degrees cooler and 20 years newer in regard. We got beautiful roads. We don't have Eastern. Let me repeat that. We don't have Eastern out here in Summerlin. We have roads like Town Center and Fort Apache. We don't have Eastern. When you get off the 215, you got to climb up Eastern. We don't have that. But most of the football players want to live right next to the building, right on top of the building, which is a good idea. Because then you can lift weights and get there early. You can get home right after work in 4 minutes. But Kirk Cousins said something, and we'll grab that soundbite later, that he loves living in Vegas, man. It's nice. Wouldn't it be nice to live in Southern Highlands and play golf whenever you want in Southern Highlands? Go to the M Resort and go have a nice meal, our proud partner. So Cousins is fitting in. So here's the hook to the story. As soon as I saw the video on that, I looked at the comments. Yeah, my partner, Tom Looney, says, don't look at the comments. From time to time, if someone says something heinous, I see it. You look at the comments. I shoot right back. And the comments with Kirk Cousins is, why are you starting? Why are you going to be our quarterback? He's our quarterback. Welcome him. He might beat New Orleans in week 3 and Miami in week 1 and give us life. Give us life this year. If Kirk Cousins starts, we need him to win. Does everybody understand that? He's a winner. Now, he hasn't won a Super Bowl. He doesn't have the greatest track record in his career in the postseason. Sorry, he doesn't. But another really good quarterback, didn't have much of a postseason career, and I love him. His name is Derek Carr. Derek Carr did not have a postseason career, much of. Really good player. I mean, Derek Carr at times was great. Most of the time was very good. He played on a couple of teams that could have competed, played on a lot of mediocre teams and a few bad teams. Well, Kirk Cousins is coming to a team that had the worst record in football and got the first pick overall. What do you want him to do? What do you want him to do? Lead you to the Super Bowl? Coming off 3 wins? What do you want the guy to do? Well, yeah, he needs to hold the seat down for Fernando and turn the team over to Fernando without it looking ugly. I just said it. Someone will clip that. Let me repeat it again in my own words. Fernando's going to be our quarterback, hopefully, forever. I'm talking kids and grandkids stuff here. He's our guy. I just hosted him as I was the MC for the draft class luncheon. The guy's a computer chip. He's incredible. But we need Kirk Cousins to hand the team off to him, and the team can't be under duress. What do I mean by that? 1-2, 0-3, 1-4. That would be duress. It'd be duress for me, it'd be duress for you, and everybody else in the Raider Nation. So everybody should be pulling for Kirk Cousins to get us moving. Let's get him moving, and that would be the Miami game. The Miami game would be the game that matters the most for all of us. It's the home opener. We don't get many of those around here in Vegas. We don't. The home opener against Miami. And who's their quarterback? Anybody? Bueller? Anybody? Oh, that would be Malik Willis. Malik Willis is going to come in here and beat me as I'm at the torch with Eric Allen? Hell no, that ain't happening. So we're out of the gate 1-0, in my opinion. No one's making predictions. And by the way, I don't predict games. I'm not giving you an 8 wins. Some guys are saying if we win 7 this year, it's a good step forward. Oh, the hell with that. I talk to Fred Biletnikoff every day. Every day I talk to Fred Biletnikoff. He's like a second dad to me. He says you win every game. Everybody in that building gets paid to win, not to keep the game close, not to keep it close and lose. There's no such thing as a good loss. The only good loss in sports is NASCAR. I came in third. Oh, wow, really? You came in third? I led the first break. I led the first, 30 laps, and I got points for that. You don't get points for coming in second place. John Spytek gets paid to win. Okay? He wants to win every game, and John Spytek is running this organization now like a man who played at Michigan, who won at Tampa Bay, who's had a proud young career. He wants to win every game. That's why they brought in Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins worked with Clint Kubiak. He knows the playbook inside out. The only part of the playbook that Kirk Cousins doesn't know is what Clint Kubiak is installing, because the guy's just a football savant. He probably threw in another play last night. And you know what he did? He probably texted the play to Kirk Cousins. And Kirk Cousins probably said, got it, coach. I got it. Oh, what are we going to do? Oh, we're going to put Naylor in motion, and then we're going to fake it to Naylor, and then we're going to hit Brock in the flat because there's going to be a corner coming with Naylor, and that's going to be open, and we're going to hit Brock there. And that's what they're doing now. They're drawing up plays. So what I'm most optimistic about, you hear how excited I am? No Taylor Swift. I love the shows that burn the last segment and burn the first segment. How was your dinner last night, Ori? How'd you do last night? No, we're going big. The key is, can we hit the ground running with Kirk Cousins? Can we win multiple games? Fernando's going to play. The only scenario where I don't see Fernando playing is if Kirk Cousins goes 6-1, 5-2, 7-4, then just leave him in. Okay, that's it. I'm not thrilled by that. But I'd be thrilled with the 7-4 start, wouldn't you? I think everybody would. TV shows are better, podcasts are better, calls are better, everything's better. So the Cousins story's big because this guy's no joke. I mean, he doesn't want Michael Penix playing in front of him. He doesn't want Aiden playing in front of him. He don't want anybody playing in front of him. This guy wants to play. And the only way he's going to keep his job is if he wins. And we have a chance in the first 3 weeks playing Miami at home and New Orleans on the road. Why did I leave out the Chargers week 2? I didn't leave them out. We have a tough time. And I just want to make this clear that I am going into SoFi on Sunday with my son, and I am going to put a curse on SoFi. I'm going to do some type of voodoo there with my World Cup shirt on. I'm going to try to do a little voodoo. because that's what the South African voodoo woman did and the voodoo king did for Harry Kane. Did you see that story? Or one of the Harry Kane, they put a curse on Harry Kane of England, and now they lifted it, and he didn't score a goal, and England didn't get a goal. So when I go into SoFi, I'm going to walk around SoFi, JT the Brick. No one's going to know me there, which is good. They know me there if I'm there with Raider Nation, believe me. I sign autographs at SoFi when I'm there because Raider Nation takes over SoFi. But I will go into SoFi, and I will walk through the concourses, and I'll put on, as Sugar White Mike, one of our great callers, I'm going to put the Voodoo Boogaloo. The Voodoo Boogaloo on SoFi. Ari, do you think that's a good idea? Just put a little bad mojo in the concourses there at SoFi.
You might as well hit all the different stadiums we'll be visiting this season.
Yes, I will do that. So I will do my part Sunday at SoFi and put the Voodoo Boogaloo there because we play Jim Harbaugh. That's another topic I'll get to later on this summer. Don't you want to play Justin Herbert week 2 instead of week 6 when they're rolling? And Mike McDaniel's got that offense clicking. Don't you want to get him week 2 with Kirk Cousins? Kirk Cousins knows how to beat Justin Herbert. Are you nuts? Kirk Cousins beats everybody over his career. He's good. He'll be okay. So that's your Raiders portion of the show. 16 minutes in. Can we get a Raider call today? I'm not giving away stuff, but if you'd like to get in, you can call in on the impact of Kirk Cousins. Here's the topic today. What do you need? This is summertime radio. What do you need out of Cousins the first month? 702-365-9200. I repeat, what do you need? Not hope. You need out of Cousins the first month of the season, the first 4 games. John Gruden taught me how to read the schedule with Bruce Allen. They broke it up. That's when there was 16 games. They broke it up into 4 quarters. And they told me how important the first quarter is. The first quarter is everything. What do we need out of Kirk Cousins, Raider Nation? 702-365-9200. I'll go first. We need 2-2. We need 2-2. We hope for 3-1. So that's the bar I set. Let's get out of the gate in the first quarter with Kirk Cousins. Let's win some games. Where do you expect Cousins to have us after the first 4 games? 702-365-9200. That's the number. All right, Wasted Talent will join us, the legendary podcaster and streamer at the top of the hour, Vinny Bonsignore, coming up at the bottom of the hour as we continue with that. The other thing, the NBA draft. The NBA draft came and went. What's big about that? There's some really good players in the first 7 picks. Sacramento, I'm talking to you. This message goes out to Sacramento. You got the best player in the draft, pick-wise value. Darius Acuff Jr. dropped to number 7 from Arkansas. He's a prototype Allen Iverson. Yes, I said it. Prototype Allen Iverson. He dropped all the way. He could have went 2 to 5. He dropped to 7. Sacramento got a gift. A gift with Darius Acuff. I thought they had a pretty good draft. They got a good player out of UConn after that, so I'll get into that. So Sacramento's Raider country, right? Raider country in Sacramento. Man, I think you had a pretty good draft. The Lakers got a big decision on LeBron. A big decision on LeBron. So we were off yesterday thanks to the Aviators, thanks to the great Don Logan and Jim Gemmer. Love those gentlemen. We were off yesterday. And the big topic, thank you, Ari, the big topic coming up with LeBron is that Austin Reeves received a $185 million contract extension with the Lakers. So a quick backstory on that. I am an Oklahoma dad. My oldest son, who I'm super proud of, graduated from Oklahoma. He's doing great in life. So my wife and I would go visit him in Oklahoma. And we go to a basketball game, and Austin Reeves. Remember Lon Kruger? Lon Kruger had a big impact on my life, still does. And Lon Kruger had a bit of an impact with my son going to Oklahoma because he sat down in Lon's office. And Lon sat him down in his office to talk about life. So anyway, we go to a game where Austin Reeves is playing basketball. You wouldn't have known if Austin Reeves was selling popcorn in the concourse if he was on the bench or playing. I'm talking nothing. Austin Reeves was just a guy. Just a guy. The night I went, he didn't do anything, I can tell you that. He was undrafted in the NBA. He went to the Lakers. and now he's getting $185 million over 4 years. Ari, not over 10 years. If you gave him 185 over 10, I'd be like, oh my God, he's going to be 30-something. He's going to make 100. No, they gave it to him over 4 years. And then I have my son saying, well, Trae Young got $212 million over 4 years. So let me get this straight. Trae Young and Austin Reeves got $400 million combined over 4 years. Someone put up a statue of Lon Kruger right now at Oklahoma. Just put up a statue of Lon Kruger because of the money he generated for those two kids. We're giving Austin Reeves. You know what, Austin Reeves? This is a great Chris and West Oakland topic, too, or topic for an NBA guy. Do you know what Austin Reeves is going to make in the fourth year, Ari, of his final year of his opt-out or opt-in? He's going to make, Ari, $52 million.
Sheesh.
That is, that's more than Sam Darnold will ever make in a year.
Yeah,
he won the Super Bowl.
Quarterback money right there.
Yes, so it's not. It's Super Bowl quarterback money.
Yes,
it's Super Bowl quarterback money. Why are we giving Austin Reeves more money than Patrick Mahomes? Anybody? Why are we giving Austin Reeves in 4 years what we give Mahomes, who goes to the AFC Championship game and Super Bowls every couple of years? What are we doing? What are we doing? So the answer is simple. Well, JT, you got Amazon and you have NBC paying billions and they split the revenue with the owners. Okay. Well, when the Players Association gets all that money because they split with the owners so they don't go on strike, they carve up the money and everybody gets a raise. I think it's insane what we're doing. Don't tell me it's get off my lawn crap. I want these guys. I'm congratulating Austin Reeves. But if I ever get to the point in my life where I believe Austin Reeves is worth $50 million a year as an off guard who can get you 20 a night, I watched Isaiah Thomas play. Okay? I watched the greats play. The world hasn't changed that much, everybody. Okay? The world hasn't changed that much. I think that topic, and I'm going to get into that with Vinny Bonsignore in about 10 minutes. Here's Brian from Ontario as we begin today. Hello, Brian.
Hello, JT. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
What I would like to see Kirk Cousins do is what the last few quarterbacks haven't done, is not give the ball away and not lose the game. Because if we have to take the 3 downs, punt the ball away, let our, what I think is going to be much more improved defense, do their job. But just don't try to make things happen that aren't going to happen. Do not give the ball away and give them a short field. That's what I want to see Kirk Cousins do, and I believe Kirk Cousins can do that. He's done it most of his career.
How is that going to be incorporated in wins? I need to know wins, because he knows that, I know that, you know that. Don't turn it over, play smart. But what does it have to do to constitute W's for the silver and black?
Well, I think if he does it, he does not turn the ball over, and he plays the game plan that they give him and not try to make stuff happen, I believe we get first downs. I believe we get down there. And I believe that from 20 yards in, I think he's probably one of the better quarterbacks we've had. And if he gets down there and he doesn't throw the ball away or fumble the ball like we had going on last year, that's touchdown. It's not a field goal. I think if he just plays consistently and does not try to play above his head, I think we get far more points than we've gotten out of anywhere else in the last 20 yards in. The last few years, 20 yards in, we choke.
That is an outstanding phone call. I've been dying to say that around here lately. That is outstanding. That's all I want. That's all I want as a radio host. Give me a couple people responding to what I'm saying, and I got the rest of the show locked down. Locked down today. That caller nailed it. Don't turn it over. Don't fumble it. Don't lose the game. Gino had it tough. Gino lost a lot of games. You remember when Gino was throwing it to the Charger safety as he was staring him down coming out of the huddle? Gino lost us games. But it wasn't all Gino's fault. Oh, no. It was not all Gino's fault. It was everybody's fault. From the head coach to the offensive coordinator to the offensive line coach to the inferior offensive line. That was not all Gino's fault. Gino won the first game. Brock Bowers got banged up in that game. We didn't see Brock for a while. This was not all Gino's fault. But Gino lost us games. Gino definitely lost us games where he played poorly. Paul is from Oaktown. What's going on, Paul?
What's going on, friend? Hey, I'm excited for this year because we finally got some good coaches, and our foundation is right there. Genty, Bowers, Kirk Cousins right now. Fernando will be there, but we're in the right direction. We finally got some good coaches.
We do. The dogs are excited today. Did you feed them?
No, I'm a mailman, so they're attacking me. Man.
Yes. I got to ask you that because I don't walk past my mailbox. That's a big thing for me, but my mailman is great. I live in one of those places where the mailman drops off all the mail at once. Give me a dog story. How many years you been doing this?
36 years, man.
Wow. I'm assuming there's a couple of rough dog stories along the way or good.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
The pit bulls, the Rottweilers. Oh, my gosh, man. I've been bit 8 times, so it's a.
What do you carry on you? Do you carry spray? What do you do? You cover a dog? What is that? A dog spray you use?
Dog spray, of course.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the only thing that works.
Wow. Well, I appreciate you calling us on the job, man. That means a lot to me.
Oh, I listen to you all day. I walk around 6 hours a day, man. Just listen to the radio.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Keep calling in, man. Thank you, buddy. Wow, that was really nice, man. The mailman on the job. You know what the highest compliment you can pay to me? The highest compliment you can pay is that you're working or you're doing something and you're paying attention to us. Because for decades I've been doing nighttime radio with truckers and people that are on the road, and they're fueling the economy. They're driving their trucks across the country and they're calling me. I wouldn't have a career if it wasn't for truckers. So I appreciate the mailmen, the truckers, the people who deliver bread, the military, everybody out there. We appreciate them all. The monologue brought to you by Finley Volvo, Las Vegas. Right there, rainbow in the 215. Have you seen these vehicles? These crossovers are gorgeous. You get in, you test drive one. Mike gets a cup of coffee with you. He talks about the financing, all the deals that they have. It's incredible. It's at Finley Volvo Cars of Las Vegas. We really appreciate their proud partnership as they're with us. Vinny Bonsignore from the California Post will join us next.
Welcome back to the JT the Brick Show, brought to you by The Black Hole. Become a member of football's most notorious fans.
I think it's all the things we've been talking about here for the last several minutes. And who knows, maybe my gut was wrong, but I got to go with my gut. And my gut said that this is where I needed to be. And you got to kind of take that for what it is and let the chips fall where they may. But I believe strongly you win with people. And I think getting around people that I felt really good about was probably a big reason why it made sense to me.
We're brought to you by The Black Hole, man. Their kickoff party weekend at the Palms. Oh, boy, you will not find a bigger Raider party in the world. The Black Hole, proud partner of our show. You should become a member of The Black Hole. There's no reason why everyone in Raider Nation shouldn't be a member of The Black Hole. Go to thebblackhole.com for all the details. Vinny Bonsignore, kind enough to join us. So, Vinny, I'm going to go off script a bit before we get to the Raiders. I'm all for athletes making as much as they can, just like actors, Tom Hanks, or whoever it is, you make as much as you can. But there's no way Austin Reeves is making $52 million in an opt-out year unless the NBA has these massive streaming partnerships with Prime and the new NBC deal. I'm happy for the kid, but we grew up watching the NBA around the same era. We're giving Patrick Mahomes money to the off guard now for the Lakers?
Well, it's all relative, and the salary cap for the NFL is actually higher than it is, in the NBA. The money just gets dispersed a little bit differently. There's 52 players in professional football. There's 15 players on each NBA team. So it's just a mathematics game, and that's the going rate. He's not being paid a penny more than honestly what he's worth and what players of that ilk usually get. So we can complain about it and we can just scratch our heads about it and marvel at it. But he's getting the market rate right now. It's all relative to whatever that salary cap is at that particular time and the rules and the regulations. And just always remember, it's basically a 50-50 split between revenue for the owners and then the revenue that goes to the players. And that's how their contracts get doled out. Yeah, it's just a head scratcher for me because he's a good player. But that leads me to LeBron, and you've been covering sports a long time. And LeBron has to take a discount
in his 40s. He must. He's not a 50. Because in theory, I've had arguments with Warrior fans. They're like, Steph Curry could make $90 million if he was allowed to because of what he brings to the Warriors and what he brought to the empire of Joe Lacob. Then the whole world could say that about LeBron and what he brought globally to the NBA. But there's a point where Aaron Rodgers is not making $55 million and he's taking 30. What are you hearing at the California Post here on LeBron? What's a fair number for him to help Austin Reeves and Luka if he's going to come back?
Well, I mean, if we're talking about fair in terms of how the puzzle piece that he is fits in with the rest of that puzzle, then he has to take a pay cut. There's no question, because they're not going to be able to win at a high level. And you would think that that's what he wants at this stage of his career more than the money. So if he were to take less than what the maximum is that he's capable of making and eligible to make, it would leave the Lakers some room to go and help get a big man or another wing defender or wing player. But I don't know that he wants to necessarily do that, and I don't know if I'm the Lakers if I even want to split that up. I almost would rather, if I'm the Lakers, just cut the ties. It's been they won a championship. They got to multiple playoff appearances. You got to remember, and as somebody that covered the Lakers at the time, where the Lakers were when LeBron showed up, they were in the depths of hell. People did not want to play for the Lakers. They couldn't. They didn't want to accept the responsibility of trying to turn the Lakers back around post Kobe. And so they said, no, I'm going to go elsewhere and try to win. I'm not going to. I don't. My shoulders aren't broad enough for that challenge. The New York Knicks kind of went through that at various times as well. LeBron James was the one guy who said, I'll take it on, and he actually did win a championship. So I'll always respect him for that. Say what you want about that championship. It's one of the banners that they've hung up. But I think it's time now to really build around Luka and Austin and go younger and get the type of players that those two cornerstone players, especially Luka, need to succeed. Defensive players, athletic players, depth. And so if I'm the Lakers, I'd say, hey, thank you for everything that you did. And again, they were in the depths of hell when he decided to come rescue the Lakers, basically. But it's time to move on. That would be what I would do. And if they still want him, it's got to come at a discount.
Really interesting topic. I wasn't planning on this with you. I really respect the Lakers championship in the COVID bubble. I'm one of the few people on radio. A lot of people disagree with me. That was the most difficult one to win. They left their families. There was a global pandemic. They were in isolation, playing in front of no one. The mental stress on them, not being able to leave and see their wives and kids, or having to play under those restrictions. Everybody played basketball under the same rules. I thought that was something that was really respectful. Now, I don't respect the Dodgers' 60-win World Series, 60-win World Series for a number of reasons, the way that was set up. But just staying with the Lakers, when people debate that Lakers ring for LeBron, I give him a lot of respect, and I often see the media and other people discounting that ring.
Yeah, I'm with you. Every championship is kind of its own journey, and the rules apply to everybody, and it's whoever the last person is standing under those rules. And you want to know something that's kind of ironic about all that. I have to go back and check, but I want to say almost with 1,000% certainty, that was the Lakers. I think they clinched the championship the night that the Raiders beat the Kansas City Chiefs in Kansas City. If you remember that game, where there was, a quarter of the fans were in Kansas City. Because I distinctly remember going back to the hotel that night in Kansas City and watching the Lakers win. It was either that game that they either took a massive lead over the Miami Heat or actually won it. But that's when you think about how weird that whole thing is. That was in October, I want to say. They stopped their season, then came back and did it in the bubble, like you said, and everyone played under the same rules. So it was a very weird situation, and they were the team that prevailed, and so they deserved that championship.
Vinny Bonsignore, as we wrap it up. So my topic today, kind of a summertime topic is, what are the expectations or from Raider fans, the demands, because Raider fans demand, they don't ask, they demand, on Kirk Cousins. And, I'm assuming he's going to be the starter against Miami at home, and I'm assuming he's going to be the starter at New Orleans in Week 3. And obviously a SoFi start against Justin Herbert, not so much the record, 2-2, 3-1, But the expectations, Vinny, will be very high for Cousins, who should have this playbook clearly locked in, if he doesn't have it already locked in. So what are you hearing around the league about what the league expects Cousins to do if he gets to start?
I think there's some curiosity, and I wouldn't rule out him being somebody that another team, depending on what happens with another team, another contending team, in their quarterback situation, if someone were to go down, if a Matthew Stafford were to go down, do you trust Stetson Bennett and Ty Simpson at this stage to take over a Super Bowl contending team? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like I would, if so, I can't rule out anything in terms of expectations. Now, in his defense too, if you want to set the expectations really high, we're not talking about Kirk Cousins 3 years ago, with the Minnesota Vikings, who was throwing for 4,000 yards and all kinds of touchdowns and doing great. We're talking about further along down the road, Kirk Cousins, who suffered a massive Achilles tendon injury late in the 2023 season, and hasn't looked anywhere near what that player looked like. Now, I will say this. I was talking to an NFL general manager about this earlier this week. He was moving around really well when I saw him on the practice field. So he looked decidedly different than the Kirk Cousins that we saw with the Atlanta Falcons. So I'm sure there's somewhere in between. Kirk Cousins is going to be somewhere in between the high point of the Minnesota Vikings and the low point that we saw with the Atlanta Falcons, still trying to come back from that injury. But my thing is, you got to get Fernando on the field at some point this year. You can't waste 1 year saying, let's just sit him for this year. I think his development is too important for that. You look at Drake May, he started 12 games his rookie year. It set him up for the success that he had last year, taking the Patriots to the Super Bowl. Why? Number one, he went through all the learning experiences, the trials and tribulations. The Patriots got a good idea of what we need to do to really help our young quarterback, and went out and got him the help to set him up again for success in year two. Caleb Williams went through, a starting season as a rookie that had all kinds of high, ups and downs and a lot of downs. But he was unbreakable throughout it, as was Drake May going through his situation. I firmly believe both quarterbacks were better off going into year two than they would have been had they not played. And so for me, I think Fernando needs to play at some point and play a lot. 8 games, 10 games, all season, whatever it is. To me, it needs to be double-digit games that he should play this year to get really set up for next year. So my expectations are for Kirk Cousins to kind of hold down the fort until the Raiders believe that Fernando Mendoza is ready to go out there and compete. And then here's your clipboard. Thank you for your services. It's time to go get the young quarterback ready up and running.
Yeah, Vinny, last one for me on Kirk Cousins. If we go backwards, 2026, he played 10 games, 1,700 yards. He had 10 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. 61.7%. Year before, 66.9%, 18 touchdowns, 16 interceptions. But the last 3 years in Minnesota, 18 touchdowns, 5 picks, 29 touchdowns, 14 picks. And then the big year in 2021, 16 games, 29 touchdowns, 14 and 33 and 7, and 35 and 13. I mean, the years in Minnesota, if you can get 33 or 35 touchdowns, but he's not going to get that opportunity here most likely in Las Vegas. So percentage-wise, he's always been under 70% other than 1 year, 2018. Every year of his career, from Washington through Minnesota and Atlanta, he's been under 70% completion other than 2018 where he was 70.1. And, Vinny, we had a caller who said they just want Kirk Cousins to come in and not turn it over. Don't fumble it in the red zone. Give the team a chance to win, and I think he'll be more than capable of doing that.
Yeah, I do too. He's not been a great quarterback in his career, but he's definitely been, at times a top 12, 11, 15 quarterback, and I know that the Raiders would take that for 1 year as they get Fernando Mendoza ready. But I guess I just keep falling back on if I'm the Raiders, I don't want to waste a full season by not getting Fernando Mendoza out on the field. I'm really looking at 2027 as a pivotal kind of turn it around year for the Raiders. And for that to happen, and if I'm the Raiders, I want my young quarterback to get on the field as a rookie, to learn as a rookie, to get some of those. I mean, the defenses that he's going to see for the first time. Why put that off into 2027 when you can do that in 2026 and expedite the entire process? And again, we're not talking about Kirk Cousins. He's not Matthew Stafford. He's not a championship Super Bowl winning quarterback. He's been serviceable at a pretty high level. Serviceable. He hasn't been lights out or anything like that throughout his career, and we're well removed from the years that he really was his peak years. Let's put it that way. So I don't know. It's hard to know what to expect. I was impressed with how he looked in terms of the physicality and moving around. He looked far better when we saw him live here in minicamp and OTAs than he did, when he was with the Falcons and playing against the Raiders at Allegiant Stadium, kind of that forgettable night that he had on that Monday night and got benched ultimately after that game. So it'll be interesting to see him throughout practice when the pads come on in Houston in the preseason if he plays, to kind of see where he is from a health standpoint and how much he has left in the tank to hold down the fort until Fernando's ready.
Vinny's in for me on Monday, which I greatly appreciate. And let's thank your proud partners, Vinny. Thank you so much.
Yep, absolutely. Hey, Sal's Mexican Restaurant, if you want to enjoy some of the best Mexican food in the country, go to salsmexicanrestaurant.com. Put your order in. It'll get delivered wherever you are. And if you're in the Central Valley of California, Selma, Fresno, or Madera, they've got 3 spots. Go say hi and tell them that the Morning Tailgate and Raider Nation Radio sent you.
Have a great weekend, Vinny. Thank you.
You too. Thank you.
All right, Vinny Bonsignore from the California Post and Raider Nation Radio. Multiple jobs. One of the guys, a few, including moi, multiple jobs. That's what he does. He's got multiple opportunities on multiple platforms. We're very fortunate to have him here. And I want to thank everybody over at the DeCastroverde Law Group, my team over there. Immigration attorneys, yes. Everything they do, but they're known also for being attorneys you can count on if you get injured in an accident. And a lot of people are getting injured in accidents, unfortunately, in Vegas. So if you get into an accident or injured, the brothers win. BrothersWin.com, the DeCastroverde Law Group. Wasted talent coming up near the top of the hour, right past that. Stick around.
Welcome back to the JT the Brick Show, brought to you by Modelo Especial, the new #1 beer in the U.S.
It's an elite backcourt. We have to remember that LaMelo averaged 20 this year, shooting 37% from three-point range. So the brother can score, but his gift is passing the basketball. And look who he's passing it to, a superstar, if ever there was one, in Ant-Man, Anthony Edwards. So certainly from a backcourt perspective, knowing how desperately they needed help at the point guard spot, you definitely answered that call. So I think it's definitely a huge, huge plus, and I give them credit for that.
So that's Stephen A., my buddy, and LaMelo is going to Minnesota with the Ant-Man. They got rid of Julius Randle. Problem with LaMelo is I think he's going to play on 7 or 8 teams in his career. He's got a lot of baggage. And did you see his dad, Lamar? What is it, Lamar? LeVar. What a knucklehead he's been. But I give him credit. He prepared his sons to play basketball. He did. His sons are going to make hundreds of millions of dollars. So when I say LeVar, he's, the way he treated Christine Leahy on the Colin Cowherd show, he's out there. His wife asked for a divorce. Oh, did you see that soundbite? All right, his wife asked for a divorce after 30 years, and he's like, all right, so that's going to get good. But he goes to Minnesota. Everybody's chasing my Knicks now, which is a dream come true for me. Everybody's chasing my Knicks. When have I ever said that? That would be never. Now everyone's trying. I can't wait for Summer League and what's going to go down with my Knickerbockers. All right, let me get out to Robert in Portland. Always great to hear from him. How are you, Robert?
Great. Hey, JT, I just had to ask you this before I get into the Raiders. What did you think Mike Brown did after that third game against Atlanta? What the heck happened?
Easily. He basically said, we're not going to have Brunson bring the ball up exclusively. We're going to get it to Towns at the top, get Brunson off the ball. We're going to run the offense through Towns more to take a little pressure because what Atlanta was doing, they were guarding Brunson from the time the ball came in. He was taking him 9 seconds to get it over half court and get into the offense, and he took a little bit of pressure off him. And then, I don't know, I think that was the key, was the running the offense more through Towns at the top. And then Towns wasn't taking bad shots, if you remember. He wasn't taking bad threes and jump shots. He got them to play more downhill.
Yeah, thank God he did that. I just give Brown a lot of credit, but I also give, just the combination of that team. They were a team. And I think Towns learned a lot from joining the Knicks, because when he was up north, with Minnesota, they didn't play as a team always, even when, what's his face, who coached the Knicks last year,
Thibodeau.
He was coaching Minnesota. And Thibodeau, he didn't get really what he wanted out of Towns back when he was real young. Hey, as far as your topic is concerned, I got to ask you one more. When Sims got hurt, I still think what Hostetler did, mobile quarterback,
Yes.
he did something that hasn't happened but maybe one or two times in the history of the NFL, when Parcells won the title with him at in the Super Bowl. I just think Cousins is not as quick now.
Yeah.
That's his biggest detriment. And if they don't run the ball, like you want them and I want them to run the ball, I think it's going to be pretty quick that we see Mendoza. That's my opinion, and I think they're going to start off 1-3. Sadly.
Okay. I hope it's not 1-3. Thanks for the call, Robert. I don't want to hear 1-3 in June. I don't. I really don't, and I really value your opinion because you're diehard Raider Nation. Kirk Cousins is going to hand the ball off a lot. Okay, he's going to get the ball out quickly to Brock Bowers a lot. He also knows Jalen Naylor. So I think Cousins is not going to be holding the ball deep in the pocket and needing to scramble. I think that it's going to be a different offense here. But you're right. Cousins is on the clock. I'm excited for his opportunity, but I'm a Fernando guy. This is about Fernando going forward. Wasted talent joins us in 10 minutes. Hour number 2, Summertime Radio. We'll be talking to Raider legends this summer about their greatest moment. What do I mean by that? They've all had great moments. How do you interview Tim Brown on his greatest moment? I will, and we'll talk about their greatest moment. That's my Summertime Radio. We've had a really good run with this, and it'll be brought to you by Grimaldi's, the best pizza I've ever had. 4 locations here in the Valley. Even when it's 110, Ari, I have Grimaldi's at the house, man. It's just the Mediterranean salad. It's just fantastic. So Grimaldi's, proud partner of the show. The last couple of years, we hit home runs in regards to our summer topic. The greatest Raider team of all time, the roster, remember that? And some of the greatest Raider moments of all time. We did it all. We ranked the greatest Raiders. Remember, we ranked the greatest Raiders. Ooh, that was tough. That was tough when I had to put someone at number 8 instead of number 4. That was one former player said, Coach wanted to talk to me on that. Not the coach that you would guess, but a different coach. So what I'm going to do this summer is I'm going to talk about great moments. And that'll be fun because I don't know what Steve Wisniewski's greatest moment is, but I'm going to interview him on it. Rod Woodson. Barry Sims. I'm going to talk to Barry Sims, my buddy. Everybody wants to come on and then take some little time off here in July, going up to Boise to see some live music and river raft, going to the World Cup this weekend. Vinny's in for me Monday. And then we'll get into that scorching hot training camp over in deep Henderson. It'll be hot, but what the Raiders tend to do, and I don't know anything, I don't have anything on the inside, nothing. But they tend to practice early in the morning, so we can get out there. And then if they practice indoors in the afternoon, they have one of the best practice facilities in the world. And they'll get all their work done indoors. A lot of air conditioning over there. Tomorrow night, I'm honored once again for every year to be the MC for the Max Crosby Foundation at Allegiant Stadium. Max and Rachel Crosby. So I'll be suited up tomorrow night at Allegiant Stadium. I hope you're going. If you're in Vegas, I hope you're attending. So that'll be tomorrow night. A really nice event. Max will give out checks to the foundations that he supports. It's really nice. My buddy Chet Buchanan, a radio icon in town, he'll be running the auction. I found out about that. Man, he's good. I don't do auctions, Ari. Can I get 100? I don't do auctions.
You're a natural.
The way I like to MC events, and I do a lot, is I don't tap dance. I'm not a comedian, but I get everybody out on time. That'll be my legacy. You hire me as an MC, and I can MC your event. It will be on time. There will be no jokes. There's no comedy from me. There's no singing, unless I have a few cervezas and the band wants me. But I will get you out of there on time. Up and down, up and down. People are there. People in Vegas, there are some people in Vegas that go to 2 charity events a night. Like, that's what I'm noticing what's happening here in Vegas, is you can have a charity event at 6 o'clock at night that ends at 8, and other people have events that start at 8 and end at 10, because this town is just loaded with philanthropists and people that like to donate money, which is really cool. So that will be going down in a big way tomorrow night, and I'm excited about that. On my chat, my buddy Jay said, who was considered the greatest Raider of all time? That was Jim Otto. That was 00. Mr. Raider, the Hall of Famer, the legendary center, the first ever player drafted by the Raiders, and a man who played every single season of the AFL and then went to the NFL and is widely considered the greatest Raider of all time. He passed away. I found a sick photo of me and him that I couldn't believe I found. I was going, my wife and I the other night were like, let's get some stuff done. You ever have a spring cleaning? We do it in the summer. And we were just going through some rooms trying to put stuff in storage. Got my first ever storage unit now. And I came across a picture with Jim Otto, and I'm going to tweet it out here in about 5 minutes. It was like, wow. Isn't it cool when you find pictures, Ari, that you never saw before? You know what I mean? Like some picture was taken.
I'm old enough to know this.
You know
yes.
that. When you find a picture, you find a picture of you and a family member. It's in a box, and you're like, oh, I never saw that picture. It was in a box, so I found some cool pictures, and you collect photos? You have photo albums?
Not exactly, but I mean, I have stuff from being younger, and now everything's on the phone, of course, or digital. But yeah, and to your point, yeah, every now and then I just went home and saw family and did get a look at some old pictures, and yeah, it's instant memories.
Yeah,
really cool.
That is cool. It's nice to save your photos, man, and preserve them. We got Wasted Talent coming up here in a minute, so I'm heading to the World Cup. I will be a bandwagon fan for Canada. The only bandwagon I think you should be able to go on in sports is the World Cup. It's the only one. Because I'm rooting for USA, of course. I like England. But I have to choose and put it in the chat on the YouTube. Who should I be rooting for? Our friends from South Africa or our Canadian brothers to the north? And let me tell you why I'm rooting for Canada. They're not coming to Vegas. What is going on? We got a president, this, that, a new president. They come and go. I've never woken up a day in my life, true story, a day where I cared about who the president was or who my senator was or who my mayor was or who my congressperson was. It never affected my day. But Canada, we need you here. You're 6% of our Vegas economy. 6%! You fill our restaurants, casinos, and golf courses. So as I put the Voodoo Boogaloo on the Chargers, I'm going to put a hex on SoFi when I'm there with my son. I'm going to be rooting for Canada. Now, that doesn't mean I don't like South Africa. I don't. I have nothing against South Africa. I'm asking for our Canadian brothers and sisters to come back to Vegas and spur on our economy. Help the economy out along the way and do the right thing. So I'll be all Canada coming in there, but I'll be dressed neutral. Already, you know what the uniform is in World Cup? It's called the kit. That's your uniform. Like we call it a jersey. In soccer, they call it a kit. What kit are you wearing? So my wife ordered online because we get 10 boxes a day delivered to my house. 10 boxes a day. My wife got me a beautiful generic World Cup shirt for my son and I. So I'll be going in neutral.
Smart.
But I'll definitely, I would not wear a Canadian jersey. I would not, because I'm not from Canada. But the favorite band of my life is Rush. And I'm going to go see Rush as they're on tour. And, man, there's some Rush news coming, man. I'm telling you, Rush. in this tour. So I will root for our Canadian brothers to the north. I will do that, and I'm excited. And, their anthem, I know their anthem. Oh, Canada. I can do that. And I will stand with respect for South Africa in the anthem. Oh, you want to get me upset? You want to get me upset is when people sit. I've been to over 120 championship fights in Vegas, mostly Mexican fighters, right? Or fighters like Manny Pacquiao, right, from the Philippines. And they have their anthem and people are sitting. I'm like, what are you doing? Stand. You don't have to put your hand over your heart, but show some respect. And I think what the World Cup does with these anthems are incredible. Germany 1, Ecuador 0. That game is underway on FS1 as we bring up Wasted Talent momentarily. I'm rolling today, man. I'm in a good mood. I'm excited because I can finally watch this American soccer game tonight. I can finally go out tonight and have a couple of Modelo's and go watch this game. Because the other day it was on at noon during the show, man. I felt alone. I felt alone in here last week as it was on. So I'm excited to go and get America excited tonight. Wasted Talent's fantastic. It's summer. Wanted to get him up here a few times, but he's a big part of what we'll be doing video-wise as we're incorporating him into the show on YouTube. And he's a diehard Knicks fan like myself. Congratulations on our Knicks title. How excited are you and experiencing it back east?
Man, it's one of the best moments of my sporting life. Because, JT, we've suffered a long time, 53 years. That was, man, I can't even put into words how excited I've been and how much, I'm looking forward to what they're going to do going forward. Because I feel like the way the team is set up, they can win another one, man. They're trying to keep everybody together. And the way that those kids play together, man, I can see the Knicks going on a nice little run.
Yeah, it was amazing how they did it. And you're a pretty big-time Knicks fan, and you love the NBA. What do you think was the difference? We just had a caller on how they changed it up against Atlanta, running the offense through Towns, got Brunson off the ball, and then Brunson played great. And then I'll go first. I think it was OG. I think OG was the reason we won the chip because he played great at every level of every game against every opponent. We could count on him to be a star.
Definitely. OG Anunoby actually getting healthy. He got healthier as the series went on because, he was dinged up towards the end of the season. The length that he has playing at 3, sometimes playing at the 4, and being able to defend 4 positions and getting that scoring and rebounding, OG Anunoby was key. And also, Mitchell Robinson gave us some huge minutes, man, when he was in there.
Yeah, he did.
And I'm hoping that the Knicks can hold on to him, too, because the Knicks are trying to stay away from that second apron. James Dolan came out and spoke about that. You can kind of see that was kind of some of the ideology behind what they did with trading some of their draft picks during the NBA draft the other night. So the Knicks are definitely trying to stay under that second apron. They don't want to have too much salary on the team. But, I love the fact that, they ended the night with some financial flexibility. So they'll be able to have some of these young draft picks, develop them, and they'll be able to possibly sign Mitchell Robinson back.
Yeah, the thing about Dolan and the Ape, I've been so critical. So I'm a diehard Knicks fan as a caller before I got on the radio, and then knowing the history of the Dolan family and then James Dolan. I really despised James Dolan for a long time, and I'm giving him his flowers. I am. I'm giving Mike Brown his flowers. Dolan got it done. I'm not grinding him now saying he's got to go back-to-back or do all this. But you're back east. How are the fans dealing with Dolan now, who definitely deserves a level of respect he didn't deserve in the past?
I think that he has definitely ingratiated himself to the New York fan base. He pretty much was the most hated owner in New York. It was between him and then back when the Wilpons owned the Mets, it was between those two owners, right? And now, he's been given the benefit of the doubt because if you look at, how he's done with the Rangers and with the Knicks the last few years, he hasn't meddled as much as he used to. I think that was a lot of the problem earlier in his iteration as being the sole owner after his father passed away. He kind of stuck his nose in where he probably shouldn't have, and now he's allowing Leon Rose and World Wide West to run that situation. And it's really paid dividends having a former agent that understands salary structure, knows the players, just allowing those guys to do their job. But, as far as the fan base goes, people back east are really, really, giving him the benefit of the doubt, and they've kind of like forgiven him for all his sins, so to speak, because it's been a long time since we've won. So anybody that's associated with the New York Knicks can do no wrong.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. Nicely said. Let's get to the Raiders. My topic today was your expectations on Kirk Cousins, because there is not a camp battle going on now with Mendoza. They're on vacation. They're off until the 28th when the veterans have to report, and Mendoza will be there first. So what are your expectations on Kirk Cousins, assuming you believe he'll start day one and have the ability to stay the starter until he loses games? What are your expectations?
I mean, my expectations of Kirk Cousins is to elevate this group as far as from an offensive standpoint, getting our playmakers the football, guys like Brock Bowers having big years. Kirk Cousins has always, done well with getting his tight ends open, and him just coming in and showing, Fernando Mendoza what good looks like. Mm-hmm. That's the whole purpose of him being here. And I think that the Raiders really are going to hit the ground running and have a competitive football team, a lot more competitive than a lot of people think, because this is a 15-year veteran that at every stop has played well. There's not a time I can commit to memory where Kirk Cousins hasn't played well. He's never been, the top guy in the league at that position, but he's always one of those middle-of-the-road guys who wins you football games. And you're not going to have a level of ineptitude that we've had at quarterback and some time. I also think, when it comes to Kirk Cousins, what I'm expecting from him, it's more so, and I say this every time we speak, it's all about what happens up front. Because if you give Kirk Cousins a chance to deliver the football, he's going to do just that. Mm-hmm. He's a terrific quarterback. He's a really good leader. And I'm glad that they're not going to have to throw Fernando Mendoza into the fire so early. And, a lot of times when you have quarterbacks that are drafted early and they're the number one, they're going into situations because if a team's picking number one, most likely they were one of the worst teams in football. Let's just call it what it is, right? But with this Raider team, that is not what he's going to walk into by the time Kirk Cousins sits down and hands the reins to him. I think that he's going to have a group up front that's going to have some kind of synergy. They're going to have some kind of chemistry. You're going to have an offensive group that is going to have a veteran quarterback that's going to get these guys the ball and get, Bowers going early in the season, get Jalen Naylor going early. And hopefully, Ashton Genty can really break out and be closer to what he was when he was at Boise. And when Mendoza steps in and he gets under center for the Raiders, he's going to have a situation that's pretty close to a perfect situation for a young quarterback, I think.
Wasted Talent is our guest. On your platforms, did you talk about when you drop Mendoza into this gauntlet of a schedule? Because if you play him out of the gate with Miami and New Orleans, you're like, okay, those are still good football teams. They'll play hard, but you can't drop them in. Can you drop them into a Rams, Seattle, Buffalo gauntlet there, which I don't think a lot of Raider Nation are really diving that deep into the middle portion of the gauntlet of the schedule. How are you handling that topic?
Man, listen, when I look at the middle of the schedule, absolutely not. I am not throwing that kid to the Wolves like that. I wouldn't do it. I mean, for me, the earliest I can see Mendoza playing, just based off of, everything I'm looking at. You got Miami, the Saints week 2, Patriots week 3, Rams week 4, 49ers. I think the earliest might be November 1st against the New York Jets. I really think that would be the sweet spot. It's late in the season. And that's all barring if the Raiders – the Raiders are over 500 at that point, and they're doing well. You're probably going to stay with Kirk Cousins. If they go on a little bit of a losing streak, they're below 500, I would start him, in October so you can make sure that you see enough of him. Because if you start him in the Jet game, you have that. Then after that, you have the Seattle game. They're the world champions, right? And that's a good measuring stick for him. Then you have some winnable games after that. You have the Browns game. You have the Broncos game. And you have the Cardinals game to round everything out. And that'll be a good little run for him, a little 4-game run to see and see exactly what we're dealing with going in the year after.
Yeah, that's an interesting point you make because I'll be at the Jet game with you, and that's November 1st. If he waits till November 1st and he plays that game, it's the Niners, the Seahawks, the Broncos, and the Browns. And by that point, the season's going to be decided. I mean, once we get to a certain point in the schedule, the Raiders are either going to be in it, contending, which we all hope, and if Cousins puts him in that position to contend, or Aiden, God forbid if Kirk got hurt and they decided to go with Aiden, who would be next man up, I think possibly, and everybody's winning, then it changes everything. And I think that's what changes this whole season is that with a defense with 7 or 8 new players and an offense that's going to just be better with the running game behind Tyler Linderbaum, if the Raiders keep a lot of these games close and they play with the lead going into the fourth quarter, if they get a break or two, this schedule can flip, man. Some of these games, like the Niners and the Seahawks lost really good players. Not really good players. Not saying that their roster isn't better than the Raiders, but Clint Kubiak should be able to play Seattle and come out in the third quarter in a one-score game with some really good players like Max Crosby and Jeremy Chin, and looking around at Nakobe Dean saying, "Hey, we can turn the ball over and give the quarterback a short field and maybe have a chance to win." That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, absolutely. And plus, we got to look at it from this prism. Let's look at Ben Johnson leaving the Detroit Lions. Now you have Kubiak leaving the Seattle Seahawks, right? And I think a lot of the success that Seattle has had on the offensive side of football, you have to attribute that to Clint Kubiak. And there's definitely going to be some collateral damage from him not being in the building. And this is a guy who knows that roster backwards and forward. Look, I that could be one of those upsets. And I know it's too early for that. We haven't even put pads on yet, and I get it. But just from history, when you lose a person as significant as Clint Kubiak from a team that really got the best out of Sam Darnold in his whole career with that guy calling the plays, there has to be something there, right? And then when we start talking about, going late in the season, a lot of it might not be actual wins. And I don't like to lower the bar like that. But for me, I'm looking at the style in which the team is playing, right? Like if you have some close games, you lose a couple of tough ones, it's more so about what it looks like on the field to me. Because, this is the first season with rookie quarterback. You got a rookie head coach. You have a lot of new names and faces in that building that are going to need to gel and become a team. To me, it is about what it looks like on the field. It's not necessarily about, winning it all and going to the Super Bowl in year one. It's about, are they getting better as the year is going on? And that's really what I see with this team. I think early in the season, it's going to be a little tough. But I think around the middle of the season, once these guys get used to playing with each other and they hit the ground running, I think that there are going to be a lot of games that this Raider team is going to be in late. And you know how it is, JT. It's always one or two plays that decide a football game. And hopefully a lot of those kind of, toss-up games go in the Raiders' favor. I also see the Raiders doing a lot better in the division this year, too. Mm-hmm. I see them splitting with everyone in the division this year. I don't see us getting wiped out by anybody this year.
Well, that would be the Charger game week 2. That would be the Raiders' road opener. I mean, I'm going to be there at SoFi for the World Cup. That place has been a house of horrors for the Raiders to win a game there against the Chargers. Let's go. Let's catch them week 2 before Mike McDaniel's got this offense clicking and get after them and get a win there. Wow, it shouldn't be impossible to beat the Chargers in L.A. They haven't done anything. They're not a Super Bowl contender. They don't play in the Super Bowl. They don't play in the AFC Championship game. Their roster's better than the Raiders as of today, but they got to be in the fight.
Yes, they definitely do. I mean, and we know how the Chargers are. They are like Sonic the Hedgehog when he gets hit in the game. No rings. And we don't expect for them to get any of this year. The Raiders, are in a situation where, I think the way that John Spytek is building this team, he's building this team to compete in his division. And when you start talking about that defense, the Chargers definitely have a lot of talent. But the thing that I think is going to be their Achilles heel is this Raider running game. Mm-hmm. We are going into a season where the Raiders are going to have a heck of a running game this season with Genty and Mike Washington, man. And I think that is going to be something that we got to keep an eye on. And with Kansas City, we got to see what Patrick Mahomes looks like coming back, right? He's coming back from a catastrophic knee injury. I'm not going to sit there and think that he's not going to be Patrick Mahomes, but you know how it is coming back from lower extremity injuries. Sometimes it takes a little while for you to be exactly at the top of your game. So I'm looking for the Raiders to go in there and surprise the Chiefs as well.
All right. How's the rest of your summer look? How many podcasts are you doing, streams? What's going on your platforms?
I'm rocking and rolling at least every other night. We are just trying to stay up on all the Raider news. The good thing about this offseason is that there's been no controversy. Yeah. It's been beautiful, but from a content standpoint, it is a little rough. But the thing is listen, if you love the Raiders and you want to talk Raider ball, I'm there almost every night just to break some things down. We talk about, the young players. We talk about, people that are coming up in the draft next year. We just cover whatever story that there is, and we break it down to a fine paste on my platform. So we'll be rocking and rolling every single night.
Talk to you in a couple of weeks. Appreciate you. Enjoy the summer.
Same to you, JT. Thank you.
You got it. Wasted talent. Really good. Really good. He's a lot better than me on these YouTube platforms and all that. People are like, JT, how come you don't have YouTube? I run the show on YouTube. That's what I do. We're trying to do more. We're doing more reels. It's not my bread and butter, but I like it a lot. I like the bricklayers and the YouTubers, man. It's a really good place to talk. And a guy like him, I just want to say this again because you never know who's listening. Okay, that guy lives back east. Someone should hire him now. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Someone should hire him now. Just put him on the radio, hire him. Let him do the show from home. Get him some advertisers. He'll do great. I love that in radio. Love helping. I love helping out people to get in radio. I love that. And I love calling out the frauds who mail it in. Ooh, see, already I got that in. See, I could have just said I love helping out people getting in who ask me for advice. But why did I have to take that shot at the end? I took that shot at the end because people now are mailing it in more than ever in radio. You got these consultants. They have these big conferences. And no one in the conferences in those boardrooms ever take admittance to the fact that radio's in a lot of trouble. And they all sit around kissing each other's ass, telling them how great they are as program directors. Oh, I'm a great consultant. No, you're not. The business has been crumbling in some markets, going out of business. Networks are going out of business. But you're holding mixers at bars, telling everybody what? Tell everybody how to go cold call and knock on the door and find advertisers, as I did for 2 hours today. It's fun. Now, I won't put the suit on and go knock on the doors at the, getting on those Zooms today. Man, I Zoomed it up today, man, as we're trying to lock down all of our partners here. Here's Big Al in San Francisco, who loves the NBA and loves the NFL. What's on your mind today, Big Al?
Well, JT, I had a game last night, at WNBA, and everybody was talking about the NBA draft. And, as you know, I've been involved with the NBA a long time. It was the biggest farce that I've seen on television in years, to the point where don't ask me who was drafted in the second round because I don't know and I don't care. And here's why it's a farce. Because they've come up with this whole concept about aprons, which I thought was something that I would wear in the kitchen when I'm cooking. And the whole thing with the second apron has changed this entire thing. We see it in the NFL with the hard cap, but the NFL does a better job of masking it. And the drafts have just become a farce. And if you want to make it better, and you want to make these things more interesting, especially for the fans, you've got to change it. In the NFL, in the NBA, and the NFL too, one of the things they need to do for these, for teams, with the salary caps and so forth, and I'm going off a little bit here, but it just really aggravated me last night, is every team should get one or two exemptions for older players who are on their team that they want to keep, and they don't go up against the cap. And if you're playing around with caps and aprons and all that kind of stuff, if you draft a player, why do you have to pay a penalty to be able to keep the player?
That is a really that is a really good topic because again, as we've been friends off the air and we've touched on that. That is interesting on the apron, and securing players and bird rights and overpaying players, player options. At the end of 4 years, we're giving Austin Reeves the ability to opt out. He's not going to opt out at $52 million. What is he going to do? Opt out at $52 million to get $64 million? Maybe I'm wrong. I think the league, I can't even navigate this topic, Big Al, on the amount of money that the players are making and what the owners have to give up. I don't think the owners should split the revenue 50-50 with the players. I think the owners deserve more money than the players because they own the team.
Of course they deserve more money than the players. They're the ones who put the risk out.
Yes.
When Chase Center was built, and the local group here for the Warriors who owned Chase Center, spent I think it was like $1.5 billion, and then the first year Chase Center they have COVID and they lose all of those events. But they still have to pay the debt service. The players didn't pay the debt service on that. So why are they going 50-50 with it? If, the rules of capitalism are implied here that if you take the risk, you should get the reward.
Yeah, that is really good. Thanks for the call, Big Al. Appreciate it. Always an educated call. He's an NBA stat guy, works a lot of games, college and pro. Always brings out a very good phone call. Look, it's really simple. I've never worked. I was a stockbroker before I got into radio. I was a cold call stockbroker. I didn't split the revenue with Shearson Lehman and Merrill Lynch. I brought in accounts. I got paid a percentage on it here in radio. Right? I got a national show. I got this show. There's different ways I run my business. But if I was playing in the NBA now and I was on an NBA team, you know how lucky I would be to kiss the earth when I got out of bed every morning? NBA players now are getting 50% of the revenue that the owners get. If they were born in 1950 or 1960 or 1970, they wouldn't get any of this. So now we're getting guys who are 21 years old, and they're going to get their rookie deal, and they're going to make money, but they're not going to break the bank. And then in year 4, they're going to opt into a $200 million Supermax, and then they're going to opt out of that in 4 years and opt into a new Supermax of $300 million? What's going on here? Well, JT, they can get what they can get. That's not the point. Of course, you can pay for a house. I always break it down to real estate. Just because a house is worth $7 million, if you don't have $7 million, you're not going to buy it. So if your house is worth $350,000 and you want to sell it for $1 million, it's not going to sell for $1 million unless someone wants that house. These NBA players roll out of bed and they go, oh, James Harden, I'm at the end of my career. I get another $52 million a year. No, James Harden doesn't deserve that money anymore. He's not as good as he was 10 years ago, and he gets a raise? Yeah, he gets a raise because the league's making more money in revenue. I think it's nuts. When we come back, I'm wide open for the next half hour if you want to get through. Kirk Cousins is a topic this week. We'll stay with that, Raider fans. Where are you watching soccer? Who's your second soccer team? I've never said this in my life. My first soccer team is USA. My second soccer team is England. If you're not rooting for USA, who are you? 702-365-9200. We are brought to you by the 872 Laborers, led by Tommy White.
Welcome back to the JT the Brick Show, brought to you by M Resort Spa and Casino, the official hotel of the Las Vegas Raiders.
It would basically be like if the Nets won the NBA championship.
The Nets?
All right, okay.
Come
the Hornets.
Now, okay. At least give them a play-in type of team.
All right, the Hornets. Listen, if they win it, it would be one of the I would argue it could be bigger than the Miracle on Ice. I mean, it would be that level of maybe even over that level of an upset.
And a golden ESPN. He works for Q at night from Cleveland. It's interesting on what would happen if the U.S. won the World Cup. I find that impossible for them to win the World Cup. But now it's starting to become something interesting as a topic. Because if they win their next game in the round of 32, they're in the Sweet 16. And remember, you're playing soccer. You can win 1-0, right? You can win 1-0. Or you can tie 0-0 and win on penalty kicks. But then if you have to win, say they win their next game, Ari, right? So they get, we know that, forget about that. They're already in the knockout round. If they win their knockout round in group of 32, they go to the Sweet 16. If they win there, they go to the Elite 8. I don't think they can win the 8-game, the 4-game, the 2-game. I just don't see them winning all that. But if they did, it would break the internet. It would be the biggest sports story that we have by far, right? Bigger than the hockey team winning the Olympic gold or anything.
I think so. I think even if they get to the 8, then it starts the conversation like you just said. It's like, I don't know if that's going to happen, but hey, we have something to latch onto, the potential.
It would be crazy.
Exactly.
I can't imagine how. I don't even know what the rest of the world would think. This is not even a topic for the rest of the world. There is no one sitting in a cafe in Paris. No one sitting in the Philippines on a beach going, what happens if USA wins the World Cup? Nobody, as in zero. So if we think we have a chance here, we'll see. Ecuador, Germany tied at 1. Ooh, wow. Ecuador tied with Germany here. So I'll be going to the World Cup this weekend. I'm not nervous. I haven't did the drive in a while, and I got my in-laws in town. I got some other things happening. But the weird thing about this SoFi, someone told me it's $250 to park. And, of course, some wise blank says, well, no, not if you park here behind this bill. I'm like, be quiet. It's $250 to park. $250 to park for the World Cup. And I don't have to worry about that. We're not driving in. But, wow, $250 to park. That's what sports is like now. That's what sports is like now, to go to a game and pay $100 to $200 to park your car. And people look at perks or not. We don't have great tailgating at Allegiant Stadium, elite like Oakland. You drove your car in, right, down Hagenberg. You pulled in. You opened your trunk. You had a grill. You had cases of beer. We'll never have that in Vegas. Never. So don't ever think we're going to. But the one thing we have in Vegas is you don't have to pay that much to park. You can walk over the Hacienda Bridge and walk over the bridge if it's not August and get into that game without paying $250 to park.
Yeah, $250, dwarfs whatever they're charging out there, I think.
Yes. So that's pretty crazy, and they're able to get it. It's what you can get. Like, look at the Knicks tickets during the postseason, and the Knicks tickets during the postseason were just, if you want to pay $6,000 for a ticket to go for a single ticket, you can go ahead and do that. But there's a value in sports on what you want to pay for ticket, parking, and a beverage.
The experience in a whole is what you're talking about. Like, to me, it's all things, like it's all of those combined. So
yeah, the one thing that I'm never going to come to grips with is the price of beer. Like, if I want to have a beer at a game, I know what it costs, and it's sometimes it's pretty high. But if I want to have a beer at a game, I'm going to pay. If you continue to increase the price, I'm going to pay. But I'm not going to pay $60 for a double cocktail. I'm not going to have a double and it's going to be $60. I can have a double at home and not pay anything. I'm not going to pay that. But for a beer, Ari, you would pay. You're not going to sit there and go, I'm going to get off the line. The beer costs too much.
If you spent the money to go to the game anyway and do all the things, you spend money on parking, you may as well, like I said, have a great experience. Kind of just like vacation. You're not going to go stay somewhere, but then no drinking. That's just part of it.
Well, I just came back from Maui not too long ago. When New York, the prices were pretty big, but the prices in Maui were actually cheaper than ever because there's not a lot of people there. There's just not a lot of people at all. And, the prices were starting to come down a little bit, but they're really high. Hey, Ari, what we're going to do tomorrow, too, and I want to tease this because we like to tease, and then we're going to get to the contest here. You sent me some pretty good notes on Raider rankings. And this is the time of year I get very angry because the Raiders come in the rankings and they get so disrespected. They're ranked 26th. 26th out of these teams. And one of the rankings here, listen to this. Las Vegas Raiders are ranked worse this year than they were last year and the year before. Aren't we better? Here's what this is from ranking wide receivers, tight end, running backs. Best and worst from Jeremy Fowler. Listen to this, or listen to me. There are two exciting young players here, although neither had great 2025 seasons. Tight end Brock Bowers was limited, then sidelined by a knee issue. But we still saw glimpses of the player who terrorized the league as a rookie. And running back Ashton Jeanty failed to live up to expectations after coming into the league as a top 10 pick. There's no question Jeanty was let down by a dismal offensive infrastructure, but also struggled to run through NFL tackles in short yardage situations and made some unforced mistakes. I'm still optimistic we'll see something close to the Boise State version of Jeanty in 2026, but it's also fair to be a little nervous. Wow. Throwing shade at Jeanty, who got destroyed every time he touched the ball last year, 3 yards deep. Worried about Jeanty. Have you seen the photos of Jeanty this offseason?
Yeah, Vince and I were discussing that on Monday. Yeah, I don't need a photo. That's one of the least nervous things for me.
The guy looks like he's a professional bodybuilder. Right. Look, this is what happens this time of year. Every year we sit back and we look around and we say to ourselves, why are they ranking us so low? Why are the Raiders getting no respect? And I've had to evolve on this topic. I can't defend the Raiders until they win. What am I going to do? Have another year of even Raider fans calling me a shill, saying you're a homer? Yeah, I will not give you my paycheck from the Raiders. I'll give you a Modelo or a bottle of Aspen vodka, but you're not getting my Raider check. When people say, what do you think of the Raiders this year? And I'm like, they're better than the record. Ashton Jeanty's better than his stats last year, which weren't bad. And no, these rankings come out and they just trash the Raiders. And then the thing that gets me going the worst is when they give you the over-under. They give you the win total and it's at 5.5 or 6, and you're like, man, the bent noses, the bookmakers think we're only good for 5 wins? Yeah, they do. They don't think we're very good, Raider Nation. You got to go out and prove it. Germany won, Ecuador won. Pretty good game here. A yellow card. Got to be careful. Yellow card just was given out. If you get another one, a red card, you get suspended for the next game. I think tonight's going to be interesting for Team USA. They got a bunch of players with yellow cards who should not play. They should not play because if they get another yellow, they don't play in the knockout round, so sit them. But I really want to see Christian Pulisic play because I think he needs to get some fitness in. He needs to play for 30, 40 minutes because he's one of the best players on the team as we continue. All right, when we come back, we got one more segment. If you want to get through, 702-365-9200 as we continue on. We're Woodson Bourbon Whiskey. Charles has been built an iconic brand. Heisman Trophy, right? Just Hall of Famer. And how about his whiskey? Does really well. Woodson Bourbon Whiskey. You get it everywhere. They're once again one of my original partners on the launch of Raider Nation Radio, and they're back. We love Woodson Bourbon Whiskey.
Welcome back to the JT the Brick Show, brought to you by the DeCasta Verde Law Group. If you get injured in an accident, call 702-222-9999.
Yeah, I'd say just my routine. Obviously, rookie year, you don't really get a true off season. So still, even this year, this is my first real one. So figuring out, how I want my diet to be, what time I want to train, when do I want to start training, when should I take a vacation. So just dialing all those things so I can be ready to go.
That's Ashton Jeanty. JT back with you as we continue on, and we're excited for that young man. He's a freak with his training. I know that from being in the building and talking to some people. He's a nut. He's crazy about that. You don't have to worry about him getting soft or him getting out of shape or him not being in the best shape. He will be ready to go, and he is really excited to go, and we're excited to see what he's going to be able to do, which should be a lot. Be able to do a lot of great things this year. We're brought to you by Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, proud partner of the show. They're just great. You can order on the app ahead of time. You can go to the drive-thru. You can go to all their individual stores where they make that sauce, that great sauce in store, fresh every day. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, one love. Here's Jeremy Fowler on what's going on with Brendan Sorsby, who will not be able to play college quarterback this year because of his gambling saga, and the NFL will not give him a supplemental draft, so he will not play.
Well, there was a lot of interest. I mean, teams are really high on the player. If you take the gambling situation out of it, now that's certainly a process that they need to vet. But he's considered an effortless thrower and a big-time athlete, and you don't see very many of those very often. So I believe some teams actually had a first-round grade on him. Now, they probably weren't giving up a first-round pick in the supplemental draft, which is a different dynamic. But as one team exec told me, if he were in April's draft, he probably would have been a late first-round pick. So somebody would have placed a draft pick on him in the supplemental draft had he made it there. That's a moot point now because the league just didn't see they really didn't see a compelling reason to host the draft when they got Sorsby's application pretty late in the process. Didn't really see a compelling argument as to why he should be in. So they just decided, hey, we'll see you in April if you want to be an NFL player. And so that kind of complicates matters, but there was interest for sure.
Yeah, that is very interesting to me in regards to that and how that's going to play out with him because he would have come to the NFL. I agree with Jeremy Fowler. He would have probably got a second. Someone would have given up a second rounder for him to play quarterback and park him. And he might turn out to be really good, but he's not going to play for a year. And unless he has a great quarterback trainer and someone he's working with every day, like Tom Brady or someone, good luck. He's going to sit out a while. So halftime, Ivory Coast 0 over Morocco. Germany 1-1 with Ecuador. Coming up, these games are Pacific time, 4 o'clock, Japan, Sweden. That's at AT&T in Dallas, Arlington. Tunisia, Netherlands on FS1. That's at Arrowhead. Then we got some big boy. Paraguay, Australia. That game is at Levi Stadium. There used to be a stadium called Candlestick Park that was in San Francisco, Hunters Point. They say Levi Stadium's in Santa Clara. That is nowhere near San Francisco. It's a tricky word they use there, Santa Clara. Nowhere near San Francisco. And then the late game at SoFi, Turkey and the United States, 7 p.m. Pacific time. And that's 10 o'clock Eastern. Correct? Right? Because I wonder, because when I look at my ESPN here, these times aren't Eastern. So what are we doing? What are we doing with that
late one?
Yeah, I don't get it. So that's coming up. And then I'm going Sunday. And I'm excited to see Canada as they take on South Africa. And that's going to be pretty good. So thanks to Ari who put the show together and booked the guest and did everything. Thanks to Wasted Talent. Thanks to Vinny Bonsignore. Tomorrow, I don't know what I'm going to do yet because I'm going to have a bucket of Modelo's and watch soccer. And I'll wake up in the morning and I'll text some friends to come on. We might replay the Phil Villapiano interview because he's pushing the book, and he thanked me for that. So that's something we might do tomorrow. And then we'll talk about Max Crosby because tomorrow night I'll be the MC for Max Crosby's event, his foundation at Allegiant Stadium. Good week for me at Allegiant. Monday, I was with Fernando Mendoza and 3 other rookies. 31 rookies showed up at the Raiders Draft Class Luncheon. And I'll bookend my week Friday night with Max Crosby, which I'm sure there's going to be some dignitaries there. Max moves the room. So Q's off on vacation, well-deserved. We're done here. I will be back tomorrow. Hope everybody enjoys watching USA Soccer. We have a lot of casino properties, Boyd Gaming, the M, all of our partners that are going to be throwing this up, from the Bel Air to Click Hospitality, everywhere. And all of our proud partners that are hosting, please go support them. It's a good night to get out of the house and go watch some soccer and make some new sports friends. Have a great rest of the day, everybody.